Hey guys, welcome to our review of Kamen Rider Amazons or Amazon Riders, episode 9. I'm your host, Frozen Stratos. Here with me today we have
Cinder Blaze.
my dude. Welcome back. We just got done watching this episode and it was actually legitimately good. Like a surprising step up from episode 8, the one that we had to slog through 5 different times. I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away.
Yeah, and like you said during the watch along, it's kind of fixed a lot of the problems we had in the last episode, in particular, where it was so like the execution was like so bad in that episode, and in here, surprisingly, they shocked me, and like I was actually impressed with some of the executions they did. Like some of the fight scenes, I feel like this is the kind of stuff that they really wanted to get at. Like it was something unique from like the stuff that we see in like the Heisei generation stuff. You know, this is more of like the old like nitty gritty type of fighting. These guys are like savages going at each other, and like that was something I actually got. Like they showed a lot of the things instead of like just telling me that like, oh, Amazons are this, Amazons are that. We kind of had a more natural feel to that in this episode.
Yeah, and I feel like the gravity, the weight of the entire sort of premise of the episode was really driven home in such an effective way. All of the like the horror aspect of it was very effective. Just that entire sequence of the guy going in, you're slowly like watching, like you kind of get a feel for what's about to happen to this guy, and you know it's coming, and that's kind of the worst part about, or like, you know, to you, the viewer, like the absolute worst part about it. You know what's coming, he doesn't, you want him to stop going, you like, stop, and then it happens to him. They don't show it, they show you before and after, and that made the dread, the horror, so much more effective. See what happens when you don't show the actual act itself?
Yeah, and like honestly, they probably could have and pulled it off as well. But like, there's something when you do like these horror type of scenes where not showing has like a lot more effect than actually showing like the violence.
Yeah,
and I feel like in this scene in particular, they're kind of like setting up that whole community as well, and like the whole mannerisms by the person in charge of the restaurant was something I also kind of like, because like when we kind of see later on in the episode, like these humans actually did care for him because you know, like they were put in a really shitty situation being Amazons, and I feel like this community was like, I mean, it was awful that they were killing humans to kind of sate their appetites, but like that was something that they had to do to survive
and not
like,
kill even more people, like go wild and do that.
Yeah, like they had like this idea where they just like mix it in with their own food. Like you had like that theory in the middle of the episode, and like they actually did confirm it. It's like, oh, if you just have like a little bit of human flesh at a time, maybe it'll like prolong like how much we can retain our consciousness and stuff. I was like, wow, that also like kind of informs us about what Amazons like what these dormant Amazons are really like. You know, like that whole transformation process and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and that all. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, it just gave us this window into like personifying the Amazons, like actually being able to relate to them. We have our main character ones that sort of seem out of the loop for whatever reason, and have this sort of special air about them, and it doesn't seem like they're really the same thing as actual Amazons, because they don't go through the same issues. But as you said, like, it's a community. There's that community aspect, and we really got to feel that and feel for them as characters. They tried so desperately hard last episode to have that feeling of like, oh, This is a guy that doesn't want to be an Amazon, and they screamed it in your face. Like, this is the conflict of the episode. But this time it was also subtle, like you understood it, and we got to connect with the characters. And when they, spoiler alert, when they finally died, it made it all the more impactful. And they didn't just get run over by a motorcycle and spontaneously explode.
Like, obviously, Amazons had places to go in that episode.
Yeah.
They made it hurt a little bit. Like, he actually did talk to one of the people in the restaurant, and, you know, he kept on, like, having those little flashbacks, like, oh, I can't be here killing her, you know? Like, that's just wrong. And when the drones come and just kind of, like, melt them.
Yeah.
Like, that was brutal, and it also helps put gravity to the overall plot of the series, which, you know, it's been quite a while since, you know, they've kind of, like, info dumped it all on us. Or maybe it just feels that way because we watched the previous episode 5 times. But, you know, the pharmaceutical companies going around trying to exterminate all the Amazons, and now we kind of more, you know, understand the ramifications of something like that.
Yeah, and, like, what this episode did that the last one wasn't able to was characterize Haruka and how his ideals are sort of being shaped. We get, like, it's not being yelled at us. We get to, like I said, connect with the characters, and we understand the conflict. It's not just him having that conflict and we're just watching it. We're experiencing that conflict with him, and we are ultimately siding with him because he's our point of view character. And this episode was just so effective at that.
Yeah, and also for the characterization point, like right before that whole thing, when they start going undercover and the entire team is like giving shit to the one chick on their team because she can't smile, and we actually have Haruka joining in on that. I'm like, holy shit, he's actually like cracking a joke, and that was something that we haven't had from him ever. Like, he actually felt like slightly human in that one scene, and I'm like we need more of that. I feel like he has like a strong enough. I feel like the actor has the potential to really pull off that type of character. You know, the whole cheeky. You know, he's still kind of like the idealistic noob, but you know, just let him do his thing.
Yeah, give him anything, you know. And like, there was a director change for this episode. I haven't looked into seeing if episode 10 has a new director as well.
But I don't want to know.
Yeah. God, stop. But it made a world of difference. Like, this is the first episode where I don't feel like I'm being talked down to. The direction was effective. And I feel like this was actually, you know, a TVMA or an actual horror film or episode. Like, it wasn't gore for gore's sake. Everything was deliberate. It was just used properly. And I just it caught me so off guard, and I didn't expect anything to be good in this. And from beginning to end, I was drawn in.
And we didn't really hang on any scenes all too much because like so much was happening. Like, usually in longer episodes, you would have like the A and the B story, and we kind of like switch between them, so like one doesn't like kind of drag on for so long. But I don't think we really had much of a B story. Jin's plotline was kind of something that showed up at the very end, as opposed to kind of being like spliced in between. And I think we did have one. Also, like, another scene going back to the pharmaceutical company with the weird-looking guy.
Yeah.
It's, like, also kind of setting up something really briefly. But for the majority of the episode, we're kind of just staying in that restaurant set. And I really didn't get bored with anything that was kind of, like, happening there. So I was, like, it was an actually like entertaining episode.
Yeah,
So
it was weird.
yeah.
Yeah. So now I guess we sort of understand why some people like Amazons as a whole. Like, if this is indicative of a running change, we haven't touched episode 10 yet. We're about to. If this is a sign of a running change, then I might turn around on it. You said it in the watch along. What if this turns out to be like Drive, where it was crap for most of the season until it got good at the very end, and it gave us a really good taste in our mouth, like left us with a really good taste in our mouth. If it manages to leverage that sort of switch, major props. And like, they would do best to keep this director on. Otherwise, we've had the same writer this whole time, but it takes a good director to make that script work, and it worked, dude. It worked. Yeah. Do you have anything else left that you want to say?
I feel like since we haven't like touched on it, we kind of have to mention the third writer who kind of showed up at the very end.
Yeah.
Like, his intro was also like pretty like
groundbreaking.
Yeah. It was the one dude who died in like the first or second episode, and apparently he got brought back, and it's kind of like freaking everyone out.
Yeah.
Except for like a certain someone, I guess. He's probably just like masterminding this entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he has upper hand on Jin. He also has kind of raised a couple death flags on his own side. It's like, oh, maybe I should have kissed her goodbye or something like that. It's like, you fool.
Dang.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight in the next episode.
Man, and like that death flag, it was so subtle. Like, you know,
I'm not sure if it was subtle. That was right in your face.
but like the immense amount of restraint that the director had this episode, it was. I'm baffled. I'm blown away. Anyway, yeah. So, Alex, is that it?
That is it for me.
All right, cool. Well, that just about does it for us. If you like this episode, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to hear more from us each week. We will be doing weekly updates on where we are on Amazons, or if you're in the future, it's all already available and it's archived on our channel. Guys, thanks for watching. Keep it juicy.
See ya.
Oh, I'm almost afraid to check who the director is for episode 10.
Just don't.
Yeah,
I feel like
I know. That will color my opinion, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
like, maybe he just like stepped in for an episode. This is how you do it. And he's like, oh shit.